What is this big earthenware container with handles? It is around a meter high and 40 centimeters in diameter. It has a brand on it, Sirogine Moreau, found it at the front of a house in France, and is used as a flower pot. But it has strange bumps with holes that look like there could be tubes connected to it. It also has an evacuation at the bottom with a thread. What is it? It's a Sirogine Moreau Nancy, designed to create sugar syrup in a continuous fashion, and without using heat. It's composed of a tank and filtering plates, and is used at ambient temperature. It's missing the screwed tap at the bottom. Nancy is the city where it was made in eastern France, famous for its Mirabelle's production and liquor. What is this strange canister I found in the dirt? I found it while installing an irrigation system in a park. It's approximately 2 inches long and a half-inch wide. It's made of some sort of metal. It has a cap and it's hollow. It has something rattling inside of it, never opened. I don't have any further information because I'm not sure where to begin as far as describing the pattern or the symbol on the bottom. What is it? It's a vintage Nylon by Lacris lipstick from the 1940s. Nylon is a little-known brand name today, but in the 1940s and the 1950s, it was a well-known name and was advertised a great deal, and was also sold and promoted by the once well-known Scheffel Bros store in New York City on exclusive Fifth Avenue. What is this mysterious Y bracket above the basement stairs, right behind the stove in the stairwell to the basement? Just above eye level when you enter the stairwell but out of reach. The house was built in 1904. What is it for? It is an antique water heater expansion tank bracket patented in June 1907, made by American Radiator Company. What is this rusted metal object around 6 feet tall, found in the woods on the grounds of the estate in Bristol, England? It was stuck securely in the ground surrounding Ashton Court in Bristol. It looks like potentially a part of an old piece of farming equipment. I've tried general searching on Google and can't find anything. What is it? It's a ratchet strainer post, a late 19th to early 20th century cast iron fence post for a wire fence. The wire is strung onto those knobs, which you can turn to increase tension in the cable. I think they were used a lot around the railways in the early days. What is this mystery tool around 5 inches long with a wooden handle made of lightweight metal? My little brother got a bunch of old toy cars from a family friend in Sweden. For some reason we found this mystery tool in the same bag. The metal is not magnetic, but the sharp point in the end is. The other side has Chandos made in England engraved, and the other side has an S and arrow. What is it? I was a night shift supervisor in a glass factory. It is a glass cutting tool. The 2 different sized notches are to help snap the glass. One size is 4 mm, and the other is typically 6 mm. Also, you can snap glass along the stress lines that the tool creates like a scratch and break it along its length with just a little pressure from your forefinger and thumb. What is this brown gold glass around 5 inches wide? The top is open at one end and has a 1-inch hole, and it seems to fit in the base with either end up. We think it's from the 1960s to the 70s. It stands about 7 inches tall when put together. Whatever it is, it's not a candle holder or a candy dish. It's a fairy lamp made by the Indiana Glass Company from the 1960s. A votive candle goes inside. I have that exact one as I collect amber-colored glasswares for its beauty. What is this small metal rectangle with rollers? Picked this up as a kid over 40 years ago. There's some kind of felted pad inside, but tough to see as the gaps around the rollers are pretty small. It is heavier than it looks. It says Bruce Humphreys Publishers, Boston, Massachusetts, made in USA. I've wondered about this little guy for a very long time, so I'm excited to see if we can suss out some details. The dimensions are 1.5 by 1 by 0.5 inches, and it feels quite solid. It's made for a great fidget toy for over 4 decades for me, but remain curious about its original purpose. It's a Stravinsky, A roller-type rastrum, invented by the famed Russian composer Igor Stravinsky in 1911. He invented this little dynamo so he could generate staves anywhere anytime, using a combination of the first part of his last name Strav and his first name Igor. He named it the Stravager, but Nikolai von Struve, a friend, attempted to patent it for Stravinsky just before World War I in 1911. Which never happened. The Stravager evolved from a 5-pointed pen called a rastrum, but instead of fixed points, the Stravager utilized rollers. Though a patent was never actually awarded for the Stravager, they were obviously still produced, and decades later reproductions were brought to market. Igor Stravinsky used his quite often during the rest of his career. While digging to install a fence, the shovel hits a mysterious resin object with an unknown glyph on it. My Christian friend told me to destroy it, so I don't think it belongs to Christian. Location is Quebec, Canada. What is this thing? Those are definitely Hebrew letters. It's the third pentacle of Mars. This seal is of value in resisting one's enemies and for exciting wrath, discord and hostility among others. I think this pretty much proves that it's an organ of occult intent. What is this old hinged wooden tool with holes for hanging on a wall? This thing is around 10 inches. It appears to go on a wall, as indicated by the holes, but possibly goes on a different surface. There are 2 notches behind the paddle-shaped piece on the main bit. I only bought this thing because I am curious about what it's for, so fingers crossed that the internet will know something. It's a Parker fastener, a wooden beekeeping tool from the early 1900s. This puts a small piece of foundation into the middle of a small wooden frame. These little frames fit into a bigger frame and go into a Langstroth hive in place of a full-sized frame. The bees will fill out the foundation into a complete comb and fill it with capped honey. The bees do all the work. All you do is put it in its box. What is this Victorian mystery object? It came as part of a Victorian sewing kit, including scissors, a thimble, an awl, and a needle case. Both ends are blunt. Clearly it is too big for a needle threader. I thought it might be a yarn threader, but I don't know what it would be threading the yarn into. Any ideas? It's a bodkin, a large needle with a very large eye and a very blunt end. Used for lacing corsets, threading ribbon through lace beading, cord through casings, or any other time when you need to carry a yarn without the chance of poking holes or sewing through something. What is this mystery cabinet found at the local restore shop? They got this in, and no one knows exactly what it is. Some argue that it's an old refrigerator or icebox, but no one can explain why it would have a drawer. The water damage in the bottom cabinet indicates that it may have served that purpose at one point, but some others argue that it is for storing bread. But others argue that they only think that because of the yeasty smell you catch when you open it. What is it? It's a dry sink cabinet, dates back to the 1850s era. Before houses had running water, you would keep a big white bowl on it with a pitcher of water. You'd pour the water into the bowl and use it to clean up and wash your face. They also use it as a drinks cabinet. What is this ceramic mug-like vessel with a closed top? There are 2 holes on one side of the top and a cork plug on the opposite side. This was in my mom's kitchen when we cleaned out her house. There was nothing inside of it. It is handcrafted, and the only access to the inside is either through the 2 holes at the top or the cork plug in the back. What is it? Please tell us in the comments. Thanks for watching. Let's make life fun.